Okay, so it's time for the finale of Miss Marvel. It's called No Normal, but we don't have Jarvis here this week. We have a special guest. Special guest. Please introduce yourself. Tell people about you and plug all your stuff.
All right. Hi, I'm MJ, half of a Spooky Tales podcast, where we talk about Latin American folklore, legends, myths, sometimes history, and true crime. You can find us anywhere you stream your podcast. Just search A Spooky Tales with an E in front of spooky, or visit aspookytales.com. And yeah.
Awesome.
we have socials everywhere. Instagram, Twitter. Again, just search up A Spooky Tales.
Just A Spooky Tales everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your latest episode about?
Our latest episode was oh my god, which one did we release? Because we're behind and we have a lot of stuff that yeah, it's Haunted Haciendas. There we go.
Okay.
That's right.
I like your pronunciation better than mine. Very nice. Okay.
The H is silent. So you just say the A.
Okay.
Haciendas.
Haciendas.
Yes.
All right. Nice.
Got it. Perfect.
I'm learning. That's why we have guests on. It's awesome. It's great to hear from new people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So cool. We're here to talk about Miss Marvel. You haven't been here all along, so I kind of want to get your thoughts on just the series as a whole. What did you think about the Miss Marvel series?
I loved it. I had so much fun. I thought it was a feel-good like superhero movie, and
right.
And though like Marvel is technically, most of the time feel good, I think this is feel good on it made me feel like a kid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It brought that childhood relive. I'm happy. I'm a child again just watching this show, which doesn't happen very often with with Marvel. I mean, you do have fun, but you also see the adult aspect of it. But this one is just looking through a lens of a teenager and just feeling like a kid again. And I thought it was so funny, and I don't know, it was just feel good, and it made me happy.
Yeah, awesome. The director of the Spider-Man movies, the most recent one, his name's John Watts. Mm-hmm. He had the cast watch a bunch of John Hughes movies. Are you familiar with John Hughes?
I'm not sure if I've seen his movies, but I know who he is.
Okay, it's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Mm-hmm.
I think 16 Candles, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots of high school age
type
movies.
Mm-hmm. And coming of age movies.
Exactly, yes. And I think that this series did a better job of creating that kind of feel than the Spider-Man movies did. Yes,
because the Spider-Man movies dealt with some heavy topics, and I feel like, it was more of the teen that had to mature really fast.
Mm-hmm.
The one who's who didn't get a full chance to be a kid, whereas this one was just you're a child. You're having fun like a kid. You're messing up like a kid, and
mm-hmm.
It's fun.
And the stakes aren't super high at the very beginning. She's
mm-hmm.
got some normal stuff to deal with at first. Mm-hmm. They do ramp up pretty fast. I mean, the what are they called? The Jinn. They call themselves something else. There's a pun.
Clandestines?
Clandestines, yes, thank you. They're basically going to destroy our world if they do what mm-hmm. they want to do. So stakes do ramp up pretty fast, but other than that, she's working against people that are kind of on her level.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I really liked that. That's one of the things I didn't really like about the Spider-Man movies. It just seems like everything ramped up so fast. We never got any of that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man type mm-hmm. thing. And that's actually, I was reading, and Iman Vellani, the actress that plays Kamala Khan, said that if they do a second series of Miss Marvel, she's kind of hoping it is kind of like that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff, but with Miss Marvel. So I'm super psyched for that to happen. I really hope it does. That would be great. Yeah, Jarvis kind of called it out. I hadn't even really noticed it when we were watching the earlier episodes, but he called out that this is a lot Miss Marvel is a lot like Spider-Man.
It is. It has, they're both kids.
Mm-hmm. Both kids, both in New York, New Jersey. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's great
and
stuff.
it is true. Like in some of the like the Spider-Man movies, especially the recent ones, we don't really. You get that he's a kid, but at the same time, he has very adult-like responsibilities, and it's like the line is a little bit blurred on how much he can take on. It's like, well, he's a kid, but look at him. He has the adult responsibility of saving, saving people from really big things that no kid should do. And it's kind of, it's a little blurry.
He catches a ride into space on a rocket not too long after becoming Spider-Man in the MCU. So, yeah.
It's like...
It's crazy.
Like, that's like a parent's worst nightmare.
Right. Yeah, that's why I love the ending of the most recent Spider-Man movie. It seems like it sets up the future Tom Holland Spider-Man movies to be what I always wanted, which is... your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So I was really glad to get that kind of flavor with Miss Marvel.
Yes.
What did you think about the pacing of this series? I don't know. Have you watched the other Disney Plus Marvel series?
Oh, yeah. We watched every single one of them. It was a good pacing. However, I thought it was a little bit like, it wasn't enough. But I don't know if it was like not enough because I wanted more or not enough because like everything... Just, it was the final season is just everything, obviously just blew up. But it was decent. I think it was better than what a movie would have been. Yeah.
Definitely a good, like these TV shows are a good way to introduce you to a character in particular. Mm-hmm. So I definitely see what you're saying there. Better than a movie would have been. I've had some trouble with the pacing on other Disney Marvel shows. Mm-hmm. I'm not sold on 6 episodes being the optimal length for a TV series. I think maybe it should be a little bit longer because some of the series seems like they just throw everything into like some of the episodes and they're just moving so fast.
Yeah, that is true. I felt like it could go for maybe 2, maybe 4 more episodes, and it would have been better because I did come out with a lot of questions, and which I hope that they answer in a season 2, but we'll see.
What kind of questions did you have about it?
Well, the clandestines, because I know in the comics they're not. I mean, it is related to the Jinn, but it's like. You have that one guy, that immortal guy that... the
Inhumans, I think, is what Jarvis told me about, the Inhumans.
They were, Kamala was supposed to be an Inhuman in the comics, right? But then I'm going to go into why I'm really happy that they didn't make her Inhuman. Okay. But, like, the clandestines, their story in the comics is different from the one in the show. Mm-hmm. And basically, it was like a family. It was like mom, dad, and then the kids. But in the show, they're like we're called the clandestines, and we're from like this other universe, and our people. But it's people like multiple, like an entire civilization, which is different,
right? Yes, like they're from another dimension, and there's that like all of the Jinn apparently come from this other dimension. And they're just some of them that have somehow, we don't really know how, but somehow they. Either got stuck outside of their dimension or something. Yeah. Yeah,
and also, which I want to know how how did that happen? How did they become exiled? How did they end up in our plane of existence? And what did they do to cause that? Like, there's like a lot of unanswered questions, and I want to know. And I have
where did that bangle come from? Like, it was on some severed arm that's blue skin. I think. Yeah. Yes. And which also, I mean, I guess... We were so sure that she was going to find the second bangle by the end of the series, and that did not happen.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But then they also make a hint that the British have it.
Oh, I missed that. Where did they make that hint?
Because they were like digging. They're like, the British have already been here. When they're in like that cave and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, the British have it. So I don't know if that's going to like... if they do a second season or a movie, if that's going to be solved. But that bangle is out there, and they kind of hinted at that the British have it. So would it be in like the Queen's collection of jewels? You know what I mean?
Could be in that same museum that Killmonger was in Black Panther.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen. But like I said, it's a lot of unanswered questions. And then also like why is it that like Kamala's lineage was the only ones who can open the portal? Like there's like a lot of things that I'm just like, why is it like the great grandma was the one responsible for opening the portal? And why is it, again, Kamala's responsibility? Why can't the other people do it themselves?
Yeah,
or maybe they can, but still, it's still, I don't know. It just,
I guess they're the keeper of the bangles somehow. Like they're the one with the bangle. Yeah.
Maybe.
And so
then also when I saw the blue skin, I was like, oh my God, what was that from Captain Marvel? What was the
Kree.
She's called them? Yeah, the Kree. And I was like, oh my God, that's a Kree.
Yeah, so you went there.
But I could be wrong.
When I saw it, I was thinking Shiva, like one of the Hindu gods with blue skin.
That could be it too.
So it could be either of those. Yeah,
either of those.
Probably closer to the Kree. I'm thinking. I don't know, just because it's Marvel, but yeah.
Yeah, but I was like blue skin Kree. So I guess we'll see. I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions. Like, and also like how Red Dagger is able to sense the Noor. Like,
yeah,
he has, because he doesn't have any like superpowers like that in the comics. He's I
assumed he was a Jinn at first when he said he could sense the Noor, but I guess he's actually not a Jinn. He's
no.
Yeah, so you're right. That definitely doesn't make sense.
And it's like, oh, are they changing his like backstory for the series? But it works. Like, I know a lot of people are like, but it's not like I'm like, yeah, but it works. And
none of this stuff. I mean, it's been inspired clearly by the comics, but it's not following the comics. Yeah,
it's not following because even like what was it? Endgame. The Infinity Stones and Infinity War was all because Thanos was in love with Lady Death. We don't get any Lady Death in any of the movies or any in. We get hints here and there about her.
Although weird, in the most recent Thor movie, there is a statue of Lady Death.
Yes.
Very strange that they didn't do that at all for that whole Endgame story.
Yeah, and I
then
thought
they just throw a statue in a later movie.
Yeah, and I thought they were legit going to. And then like but you know what? I love the movies. They were so good with or without her. They were really good.
What do you think about this last episode?
I loved it. It was like, I had a little bit of anxiety. My palms were a little bit sweaty. And I was like, oh my God. And then like, I was laughing because I'm like, what is it called? Department of Control. I'm like, they're trying to, or damage control or whatever.
Damage control, yeah.
And I'm like, they're the ones causing all the damage. They're the ones who blew up.
Yeah, that's one of my notes. I'm like, it's damage control, yet they've got these guns that they're using in public, and every time they shoot it like it doesn't put like a little bullet hole in the wall. It takes out a huge 20-inch chunk out of the wall.
Yes, and I'm like, damage control, you guys are causing Miss Marvel wasn't even like really causing any like destruction or anything. But here comes damage control, and it's like, oh, here we're gonna like blow up all these buildings and
yeah, I mean, it's like we know this unit of damage control is going rogue. They were supposed to stand down. They didn't stand down. But still, why do they have guns that do this much damage as members of damage control? If they had if they had a high-tech gun, you'd think they'd have something that like would just shoot a person and maybe like incapacitate them. Almost like an advanced version of a taser that wouldn't actually do any kind of collateral damage. But no, they've got guns that shoot 20-inch holes through walls. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then it's like they don't even care about like regular civilians.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just like, oh, we want this person with power, and we're supposed to be protecting the regular regular human population, but look at us, we're also causing damage to their home, to their schools, to their, religious, places. And it's just like wild to me that that they're there supposed, to be like taking care of stuff, but it's like, you guys are making it worse and destroying everything.
Yeah, their drone has like a rocket on it that accidentally fires and then blows up the Circle Q building. So like that building's pretty much destroyed now. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a great end to the series. Like I was kind of worried because, again, I've been watching all of these Disney Plus series. The other one that I think had a really great ending was Loki, but I think the ending to Loki was almost a cheat. Like if they didn't have that actor in that last episode, the ending would have been a mess. They were just so lucky that they had, I think his name's Jonathan Majors, who is super charismatic, be able to just talk for like 80% of the last episode and pull it off. Because if they didn't have them, I don't think they would have been able to do a good ending to Loki. And I think that's kind of been their problem all along, is they haven't, until I think Ms. Marvel, they haven't really been able to figure out how to end these series well.
And it's kind of like difficult because, a lot of the time it's like, well, that solves everything in a lot of movies. Yeah. And you can't really do that because they are series that kind of go into the movies and stuff. I mean, everything's connected, so you can't close it off completely. Yeah.
But you've got to have some kind of a resolution or a conclusion. Yeah.
Like a resolution, a slight, like a Band-Aid, I guess. You can't right. You can't fully solve it, but you can have a little Band-Aid that solves the problem.
You can stop the villain from carrying out their current mission, but they've got to be able to get away or something, and then you really take care of it in the movies or something. Yeah. That's the thing I really liked about this series, and Jarvis and I were kind of arguing back and forth of, all these series kind of have a big bad. Who's the big bad villain in the series? Jarvis thought it was going to be Damage Control all along. I said that it was the Clandestines all along. I think I was right. The Clandestines were the ones that had like the existential threat. So they were the big bad villain of the series. I liked that they took care of the big bad villain in the series in the second to last episode. And then in the last episode, yes, Damage Control is still around, and you've got a rogue unit of Damage Control, but they're not super consequential. I think it just kind of gives you a chance for Ms. Marvel. She puts on her awesome costume that her mother made for her. Gives her a chance to kind of run around in that, do some stuff with and kind of against Kamran at the same time. And just to have like a fun kind of battle sequence for the last episode that really isn't like dealing with the big bad villain of the series, I think.
Yeah, and it's like as you said, the stakes weren't too high. It was like a bunch of kids getting together and defeating them.
Right, yeah. Like almost like Home Alone type hijinks going on in the high school. Yeah. Home Alone. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I love the light hopping scene where she's just after she puts on her new suit her mother gave her, she's like hopping across lights through the city, and they're showing her, from kind of ground level what it looks like her hopping overhead everybody. I thought that was fantastic. Yeah. And then kind of Zoe, who was planted into the very beginning of the series, and I always knew at some point she's going to come back into the friend group and join them. So she rejoins the gang in this last episode. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that it was like a redemption almost. Not really, but at the same time, yeah.
Yeah. So they got back together. Like something... they were friends earlier when they were younger, I guess. Something set them apart, and then now they're kind of back together again. I thought that was really nice. Yeah.
I also liked how with everything that happened, Kamala's brother and sister-in-law were like, oh, we get it now. We forgive you, because what she did was a big oops. And I know she did it for a good reason, but that must have hurt her brother and her sister-in-law when, she pulled the fire alarm and stuff. But I like at the end that the whole family ended up finding out, because usually when it's superhero, it's like, oh, it's me, myself, and I have no help. My family doesn't know. And I like that the whole family was like, oh, you're a superhero. Okay, we're going to be supportive. We're going to be there for you, and we love you.
Yeah, and I absolutely like that. Yeah. And I thought it was kind of cool early in the season. So her mother's like, you can't dress up like Captain Marvel. You can't wear a skin tight suit. That's not you. And then at the end of the episode, what she turns out kind of making for her daughter is kind of a skin tight suit. So like even her mother's just impressions of who her daughter is have shifted. And that's one way that's kind of carried out on screen. Mm-hmm. So her daughter does get to be who she wants to be.
Yeah, and I also like that too, that the mom stopped being so like hard on her daughter and realized, hey, but she realized that through having through reviewing back the relationship with her mom. So it was like 3 generations of healing. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that was a good episode. Mm-hmm. Wild. At first I was like, did she just travel back in time? And it took me a while. Like, I had to think about it in between episodes. I was like, yeah, I guess she did just travel back in time. That makes sense. Okay. I thought that was so sweet. And I was so sad when I realized that it was Kamala who saved her own grandmother. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. They're gonna make Jarvis kind of called that out. He predicted that. So I was kind of expecting that. It was interesting. Yeah. And then I rewatched it because I was kind of curious. I was like, was it her or was it her grandmother actually like made the little stars? And then when I rewatched it, she does say it was me after it happens. So yeah, she definitely did. Mm-hmm. She was the one that did. She was the one that made the story happen that she's always heard about. That was pretty awesome. Yes. It was like a full circle moment. Right. It was so pretty. So you said that you were big into comics reading when you were younger, and it was like, what was it? Yes. What were the comics that you read? I mostly X-Men. I am obsessed with Dark Phoenix. That's like my bias. She's everything. Because it's like, yeah, she's my favorite. I lean towards more like villain type people, like in everything. Like my fandom, I guess, would be Star Wars, and I'm like Darth Vader all the way, the Sith all the way. Okay, all right, yes. That's interesting. I haven't seen many people that are like that. That's cool. Yeah, I know. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Rebels," and I'm like, I wouldn't be a Jedi. I know myself well enough to know I'd be a Sith. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So, since you're a big, like, X-Men person, mm-hmm. What do you think when Bruno says there's something different in your genes, like a mutation? I freaked out. I screamed. I'm one of those people, like, that watch the TV, and if it's something exciting, I'll react appropriately, very loud. Right, yeah. But I loved it because I know in the comics she's an Inhuman, but the writers originally wanted her to be a mutant. And they weren't allowed to follow that storyline because they were like, oh, we don't want to share royalties with Fox. If you make her a mutant, it's going to have to be created after that happened, right? Okay. Yeah. So she was like, we're going to have to split the royalties. And the writers were like, but she's supposed to be a mutant, and they didn't allow them. So they had to, unfortunately, they didn't get to do what she was originally planned as. And that's awesome. I had no idea. Which was super cool. Which was a mutant. And now I feel like they're rectifying their mess up because even though she is Inhuman in the comics, she wasn't supposed to be. And it was all, it was all money based, which is when you hear that as a comic book fan, you're like, and give us what we want. I don't care if you're not making, if you have to split your royalties. If she's supposed to be a mutant, make her a mutant.
Mm-hmm.
But, so it was kind of like they fixed their wrong. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, but she's about, like, yeah, but she wasn't originally meant to be a human. Like, in the real world, she, unfortunately, Miss Marvel had to deal with, the whole, like, business aspect of stuff, and her character wasn't what it was supposed to be. But now that Disney has, rights over mutants, I feel like they fixed it. They fixed the issue that shouldn't have been there. And I feel like she's finally what she was supposed to be from day one. So I'm happy. Cool. I'm happy she's a mutant.
I had no idea about that backstory. That is super cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you hear the X-Men comics or cartoon theme song play a little bit in this episode?
Yes. What was it? The one from the 90s.
Yeah, like
yeah, and I was like, oh my god, yes. I was so happy.
Yeah, it was harder to catch in this than it was in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but yeah, it was still there. That was super cool. Yeah. That's kind of the end of the episode. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Even though like Xavier was in in Multiverse of Madness, it wasn't out did they play the music on that one? I don't remember.
They did. They played it a little bit longer, like it was a little longer version of it.
That's probably why
when he first wheels in the wheelchair, you can hear it playing. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like this one was more like, oh, you're gonna notice. It's not gonna be subtle. It's gonna be in your face.
Yeah, so this one's like right when he says mutation, then like as soon as he says that, then they play it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes like everything more interesting because in Humans, I believe it's like, the Kree, which also would all make sense why she's like so into like, the blue person, the blue hand. Yeah. But yeah, I guess now they changed it. But it's interesting where they're going to take this because now that she's not an Inhuman and she's a mutant, like how different does the storyline diverge or how similar is it going to be? I'm interested and I can't wait.
Anything else you want to say about this last show or the series?
I'm trying to think. Oh, aside from that, like I know Embiggen, like her little catchphrase is actually from The Simpsons.
Okay.
The writers got it from The Simpsons. I believe that the thing is, oh my god, I can't even remember it, but it's on the statue of that one guy that they have in like the park. What is it called? Let me see.
It's been a while since I watched The Simpsons. Yeah. But like the founder of Springfield, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. It's like on his like the statue right there. It says it was introduced in 1996. The word Embiggen. And I'm trying to see where they have it. What was the quote from The Simpsons? A noble spirit embiggens the smallest man.
Huh.
And from that is where they the writers got her little catchphrase Embiggen.
She uses that in the comics a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when she's gonna get like when at the end where she when they're like she's on the floor, she just got hit with a like sonic wave thing, whatever it was.
Right. Yeah.
And then right before she gets up, she says Embiggen, and then she becomes like almost like this. She gets bigger and looks like kind of like what is it called? Like a Power Rangers. Like the exoskeleton where like the Power Rangers move the their little robot person.
Okay,
it's that. So she says Embiggen, and that's where she uses that power, I guess.
Right, that's cool. I didn't know that came from The Simpsons. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched The Simpsons, but yeah, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Where do you think the bangle came from? Do you have any guesses on that?
I honestly don't know. I guess there's three ways. things can go, because we did see in Thor that there's like, you know, like the omnipotent city, I think, where all the gods, so it could either come from like, you know, a god, it could come from the Jinn themselves, or it could be Kree.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's all up in the air, I guess, now.
I'm kind of wondering if the bangle came from the same place that Shang-Chi's 10 rings came from.
That, you know, that's what I was also thinking too. And I was almost like halfway expecting for her to be talked to by Wong. And I was like, oh, why isn't he
I was
here?
thinking that too.
He should like be here. Do you not see what's going on with her bangle? But I don't know.
Right.
Maybe we see that, like, because in the end credit, she gets transported, like her and Captain Marvel switch places, which I'm like, that is weird.
Yeah,
that is weird. Like, why would that happen? So I don't know. They have like this I feel like it's a connection. Maybe to the Kree, or
people said that Captain Marvel was wearing something on her wrist that she didn't usually wear.
Oh, it could be that too. I didn't. I have to go back and check.
Yeah, she's got like some metal thing on her wrist that's not normal.
That would make sense.
I don't know what that would be, but I guess that would explain how they switched places.
Unless that's the other bangle. But like when you think of
it, looked a little different though. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe it's like a set where it's like you wear it all on one hand, and they're going to be slightly different.
Could be, yeah.
Maybe it's like the other bangle.
Could be, yeah. I also thought that like maybe Wong, because Jarvis and I were talking. We were thinking like somebody's got to be in the last episode of this show to introduce Miss Marvel to Captain Marvel or something. Somehow they have to get introduced so that they can be together in the new Marvels movie. And so I was thinking maybe it's Wong. Maybe Wong's going to come, and he's like interested in all of these pieces of jewelry that are helping out superheroes. The way he was with Shang-Chi, maybe he'll kind of come through a portal and talk to Miss Marvel too. But no, she just switches places with Captain Marvel. So that's how it happens.
Yeah, and that's also interesting. Like, I wonder how, where Kamala is, because wherever, you know, Captain Marvel is, I mean, she obviously needs her, like, powers. Yeah. And they're not, like, you know, they're not situations that are, like, no risk. They're high risk situations. Yeah. So I'm like... Where did this poor girl get sent to? Is she okay?
Yeah, she's got to be in space somewhere, right? Yeah.
Like, blink if you need help, Kamala.
Hopefully, Captain Marvel's like hightailing it out of New Jersey and back to wherever she was so she can help Kamala, yeah. Yeah, and she's got to be crazy.
She might be like when they first meet, like, I saw the posters in your room, okay? It's gonna be awkward. Right, can you imagine if like you have someone you admire and it's like your entire room like plastered with their face? You'd be like, it's just a small, tiny obsession, okay? Don't let the posters fool you. Right, just a little bit.
I'm not crazy, let's not make this I'm awkward. Just obsessed.
Let's not make this awkward.
Right. Yeah. That's definitely going to be an interesting movie, or at least the beginning of it. See where this takes us. Yeah, super interesting. Oh, well, this has been a great podcast.
Yes.
Really, thank you for joining us and talking about this. This has been great.
Oh, thank you. I had fun, and I had so much fun watching it. Me and my kids loved it. I mean, even I think Miss Marvel is like 98% fresh right now, which is rare. It's so hard to get people on Rotten Tomatoes to even like one thing.
Right.
It's difficult. It's like,
I really do think that it's the best Marvel Disney Plus show from beginning to end.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people had their doubts. I know before it even like came out, people were trash talking the show left, right, and center, and I was like, look, if you just would have given it a chance, look.
Yeah. I was looking forward to it, but then the thing that like cinched it for me and made me like really, really look forward to it was I found out that the story editor on Loki was going to be the creator of the Miss Marvel series. And I was like, okay.
Oh, wow.
Loki's like my other favorite Disney Plus Marvel show. They did a great job with the story on that one. If the person that did story editing on that is now the creator of Miss Marvel, I have no doubts it's going to be a good show. And it was. It was great. Yeah.
It was really good.
I really think they she learned took all the lessons she learned from doing Loki and then kind of perfected it with this. None of the because Loki was great. I loved it. We had a great podcast series talking about it. But like the pacing I think was a little off in Loki and it wasn't in this show.
Yeah, like there was like what was it? Oh god, the Wanda and Vision.
WandaVision.
The beginning was so incredibly slow, and it was like I forced myself to watch it. Yeah, because I'm a Marvel fan. I was like, we're gonna get through this. This episode wasn't that great. We're gonna stick to it. We're gonna watch next week, and then the following week, and then it got really good. And then this one has been engaging since the get-go. Like, and it's not like anything spectacular because in the first episode, she just puts on the bangle and gets these powers. So it's not like anything like wow, like she fought an entire army, but the writing is so good that it just it like the pace of it, the writing of it, the plot was just so good that it was just like nothing. It's not super action-packed, but it's really well written. And it's engaging. Right. And it keeps you engaged.
Absolutely. And it did have good action scenes, like it wasn't it wasn't totally holding back on those. They were there. But they were and they were at the right scale for introducing a character, particularly a character who is a teenager at the time. So
yeah, and it's also like there was like a time and place for the action, and not like every episode had to be action. And I know a lot of people who are complaining, but it was so boring. There wasn't enough fighting. I'm like, sometimes you just have to have a really good plot, and the action and the fighting will be placed at the moment that it needs to be placed to make it a good, engaging story. And this is what it was.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I loved it. Awesome. Like I said, it's been great talking to you. You want to plug your podcast again before we head out?
Yeah, and anyone who wants to listen to Spooky Tales again, we are found pretty much anywhere where you stream your podcast, socials. We're pretty much on every social media. My co-host does a lot of TikToks. So if you are a TikTok user, just look up as Spooky Tales. And again, it's spooky with an E in front of it. And I hope you guys enjoy what, our end of the the podcast community. We love horror. We love paranormal and the fringe.
Right. Cool stuff. We always try to think of a way that our listeners can help other people learn about Super Sideshow at the end of the podcast. Do you have any suggestions for our listeners?
I think, again, I'm going to go with the social media. Like, follow the podcast that you like, engage with them. I engage with a lot of our listeners. I have no problem speaking to one-on-one with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love
that. If I get, like, messages from any of our listeners, I'm like, I got you. Like, we can have a flow-on conversation of whatever topic, you want to talk about. If you have suggestions, I'm open to whatever listeners, and sometimes we have people that ask, especially Christina, because like I said, she's on the TikTok end, so you have people who comment and like, hey, can you look up haunting or paranormal stories from this city or this or this place, and can you, tag me in it, because I want to know if there's anything in the city I live in. So, that's what she does. We try our best to engage with listeners, not just to put our podcast out, but also to make it known that, hey, we're listening to you guys. You listen to us, we listen to you, and we take your feedback, and we get better, because I'm not gonna lie, I am a hot mess sometimes, and a lot of the times we just wing it, and we're just we're doing this. Is it gonna be perfect? No. Right. A lot of the times, I think I also tell our listeners that, hey, we're not perfect. You're gonna see a lot of the raw mess ups. You're gonna hear a lot of the raw mess ups, but we're gonna do our best to tell an engaging story, or educate, or whatever it is that we're doing that week.
Awesome. Yeah, so I want to remind everybody that's listening right now, subscribe, follow, share this podcast with your friends, your enemies, your nemesises, maybe some ghosts that if you have a way to contacting a ghost, share this with a ghost. You guys
can be best friends that way.
Yeah, they probably don't have a whole lot to do, right?
They probably don't. It's probably, I always tell Christina, it's because I see shadow people. And I'm like, you would think, they live in my, they live rent free. The least they can do is just, help, listen to what I have to say about, the topic of them. Right. And maybe mop my floor.
Yeah, sweep up.
They don't.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Rent free. In this economy. Right. Come on.
Yeah, they gotta pitch in and help out.
They're living well. They get to hunt, and they get to hunt for free.
Right. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you again. Jarvis couldn't make it this episode, so I'm going to drop in a super special message from Jarvis right now, and you'll get to hear that before the end of the podcast. And we'll see you next time.
Hey, everybody. This is Jarvis. I'm on vacation currently. My wife and I are touring New England and Canada, so I couldn't record my thoughts of Ms. Marvel with Mike, but I wanted to give some thoughts to you guys. So 3 different thoughts that I think are important. One, this show is obviously a success for Disney. They wouldn't have paid Brie Larson to show up at the end of it and to promote the Marvels movie if they didn't think they had something good here. And I think all of us can agree that Ms. Marvel was a just bona fide hit. And I'm curious to see how much resources Disney's going to give to the Marvels. I'm hoping that they're going to give quite a bit. I know that they're going to show some Ms. Marvel footage at Comic-Con, I think. I'm not sure when, but Mike and I will have a podcast talking about that. So that's one. 2, the idea of mutants is refreshing and interesting, and I hope that Marvel is going to really dig deeper into that. There's some rumors about the Inhumans being in the next in Miss Marvel, so that'd be kind of cool. I mean, I don't know how much those rumors should be taken seriously, but the idea that Miss Marvel is a mutant or has mutant genes is great. And I'm hoping that's going to start opening up some doors for the X-Men. That's what I'm hoping. And last, I was completely right about Damage Control being the villain at the end, and I feel pretty good about that. So Mike and I will be recording more, probably another episode about this whole Ms. Marvel finale, and then we're probably going to talk about a lot of the rumors and stuff. And I hope you guys like Ms. Marvel. I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time watching it, and I hope you guys did too. All right, thank you. See you guys soon.